Starting a garden in the coldest time of the year, when the soil is frozen and everything asleep, is as much an exercise in patience as it is a leap of faith. But in the waiting for the light to return, getting dark earth under my fingernails is what makes me feel alive again. Ever since moving here, dust and renovation filled our days in the farmhouse, and there was hardly any time or space to grow anything of my own. I had a field tangled with brambles and a dead elderflower leaning patiently into the wind. A longing for quiet work in the sun and for food grown slowly. So last winter I decided it was finally time to start. We cleared the brambles and the dead tree and laid out the first beds. By July, this patch of couch grass, tansy and buttercup was green, busy and thriving. Ja, dat is 2 meter. Spaaltje ongeveer. I'm not the best at following rulebooks, so by necessity, I'm an eclectic gardener. The methods I choose are the ones that feel right to me, for me as a person, for what I like to see, for what feels manageable. and for the place itself, for what I notice in nature around me. I take what I need from the gardens I grew up in, my grand's, my mum's, and a vegetable garden somewhere in the middle of Switzerland, where I spent all my childhood summers. From my own tiny garden in the Netherlands, from what I read, from what I see in gardens here. I chose a no-dig approach for this space because it solved two problems. Tilling, something I've never enjoyed and takes too much time to my liking, and flexibility. Before committing to something fixed like raised beds, I need to see a layout work in real life. And our soil, well, it has its own ideas. Heavy, full of stones, wet and sticky in winter, rock hard and cracked in summer. No dig lets me layer a fertile blanket on top, and the soil creatures do the work of weaving it into the ground. On top of all that, this garden could be built from what was around me. Cardboard boxes collected from a local greengrocer and restaurant, compost from the green waste recycling plant, cow manure from our neighbor, hazel branches from our own land. My imagination tends to be far ahead of reality, so by the time I'm sowing seeds, I find myself in a lush green garden soaking in perpetual golden hour. Plants heavy with fruit, harvest baskets brimming with color, healthy, crumbly soil, and bees buzzing on flowers. Preparing for that feels a tad intimidating, because between the seed and that imagined garden there is so much that can go wrong. But the only way to ever make it happen is by starting somewhere, by putting a seed into soil. This year, I let the starting point come from seeds I already had. The version of me with big visions would have happily bought far more than we had soil or need for. Boli? For direct sowing in the beds, I tried different ways of laying things out. Lines, squares, and mixed interplanting. Squares are the easiest. Mixed beds where vegetables, herbs, and flowers mingle are the prettiest. But they only really work when seedlings are always ready to go into the ground. And that's where I've struggled, keeping up with sowing through the summer. Partly because I don't have a dedicated space yet, somewhere seedlings are safe from the cats and their shenanigans. Somewhere I remember to water them. This coming season I'd like to build a small greenhouse near the house, with just enough space to raise seedlings. Once there's something to care for, the goal becomes simple. Keep it alive. Some days the garden asks for little. Others it asks for many things all at once. Mulching parched zucchini plants and watching them recover from drought. Staking beans and peas before they collapse under their own ambition. Deadheading basil and arugula, stretching their leafy face just a little longer before they bolt. Offering shade where the sun presses too hard. Hunting colonies of dog beetles that chose the rhubarb as their home. making colors to protect kale from cabbage root fly, and daily watering in the hottest weeks of summer. Somewhere in June and July, the garden began to resemble what I had pictured. Still young, perennials only just finding their shape, but suddenly there were moments where it worked, where the beds felt full, generous, almost confident. Not perfect, but alive in a way that felt convincing. Much of summer was repetition, the same small gestures again and again, just showing up often enough for the garden to notice. I'm going to have to step over you. I was surprised with far less weeding than I had expected. Not all weeds turned out to be trouble. Some became unexpected accomplices, quietly cooling the soil, distracting pests, feeding beneficial insects, and reminding me that a garden should never be entirely under control. Between the first homegrown salad and the end of the season, we grew about half of our fresh produce. Altogether, it added up to nearly 200 kilos. Tomatoes, over 35 kilos. Zucchinis, 60 kilos. A 19-kilo pumpkin so impressive we named him Massimo. Eggplants, root vegetables, onions and leeks, potatoes. Smaller harvests of fruits, herbs, and leafy greens. An abundance of fresh food I hadn't quite dared to expect. Enough to feed ourselves through the summer, and enough to freeze, preserve, and share.
zeggen ook deze keer op de hospitaliteit. Ja. En op de vakantie. Dankjewel erop. Ja, dat is graag gedaan, best dus.
Ook meneer.
Ah ja. Ja.
Roofvogels.
Ja, mooi om te zien altijd.
Ja. Dus courgette, venkel en feta. And alongside the harvest, I let some plants go to seed, watching them dry and mature, saving a small promise for the season ahead. If all goes well next year, with the garden doubled in size, we might just manage to grow everything we need. But that isn't the goal. The goal isn't maximum yield or complete self-sufficiency. It's building resilient soil, creating space for biodiversity, and most of all, nurturing a playful, ongoing relationship with the land under our feet.
So this deep, right?
Yeah.
Because you're using the tool and I'm not. So I was wondering.
And just like that, the first snow of the year came early. Next year the garden will be bigger, a few new varieties, cucumbers, maybe melons, carrots. Hopefully a more automated irrigation system to help the water along. But for now, it rests beneath the snow.